Dear Diary, 'twas the morn of the 15th of August, I think. I haven't been keeping track of time recently, so there's about a 6-month grace period. Myself and my middle-aged tween reporter friend were going to see a dreamboat who was performing at a theater in our vague location on Earth. She was very excited according to her animations, so I told her to get down with the dealio and start a twerkin' because I am a rebellious teenager. She made like a tree and leafed. I made like a log and rolled out. In keeping with the tree theme, she screamed like she was being hacked at with an axe. I went in the room hoping to find a replacement friend, but all I found was one of those telephonetic devices I keep hearing so much about. I grabbed it and thrust it up to my ear, hoping to hear the sound of the sea, but instead I heard the sounds of a voice modulator grating against my brain. He said something about my friend being put in the theater somewhere, and that I need to find her in the next 3 days, lest she die an unspeakable death. I asked him what kind of unspeakable death he had in mind, and started listing off examples. He hung up quickly. I had a hard time believing that Maya would just let herself be kidnapped like that, so I searched the room for anything worth stealing in the meantime. Unfortunately, all I found was a magical stick-like implement. I would have to find someone to infrogonate later. The phone rang again, and I assumed it was the guy, calling again with a notebook to write some of my ideas down. So I immediately started reciting new ones to him. His retching sounded a few pitches higher, though, so I stopped and demanded to know his identity. When he was finished, he called me a psycho and told me to just check the secret hallway already. I didn't know what he was talking about and hung up. I would have to solve this mystery on my own, without the help of mysterious voices or mysterious, slightly higher-pitched voices. Just then, the dreamboat showed up. Disappointingly, his prow was decidedly human-like, which led me to the conclusion that he wasn't in fact a literal boat made of dreams. That fact alone convinced me that he had something to do with the kidnapping, so I decided I would keep an eye on him. Setting this tangent aside briefly, it came to my attention that he had been talking at me for a while, and that I had been as receptive as a cardboard box with a face scrawled on it. I sent a few words out of my mouth to acknowledge our mutual existence, and magically discovered the secret hallway to escape his overpowering perfume. I followed the hallway to its logical conclusion, which happened to be some sort of aristocrat, judging by her formal attire and discourteous disposition, and the way she had been holding the phone to her face like it was some form of life support. She tried to yell at me, but I had already left.
Can't you see
I went off in search of the elderly Korean teen, but I was halted in my path by the appearance of some foliage in the lobby.
No teeny boppers till showtime. House rules.
As soon as he opened his mouth, I knew he was the kidnapper. Now all I needed was proof. He spoke of his non-profit to save the theater from destruction, a detail that had previously slipped my mind. The theater had only 3 more days of operation before they were going to destroy it, and this unfortunately meant that I would have to choose between skipping plot details, making longer episodes, or non-canon timing. Fortunately, the canon of a work has never stopped me before. I broke down the door to the projection room and demanded to speak to the man who attempted to lead me astray before. The timid turtle man told me he was going to call the police, and I thanked him for his offer and told him that I would call them myself later. He garnered little comfort from this, and I immediately forgot what I was doing there and went off to call the cops.
We're sorry. Your call cannot be completed as dialed.
The cops weren't very helpful. As I was leaving, the turtle man appeared outside. He seemed surprised to see me, so I told him that I'd called the cops and I was going home. He calmed down a little bit, so I punched his lights out. This is a kidnapping. We don't have time to be calm.